Hey, everybody. Hey, Colin. What's going on?
What's up, Ryan?
We are having the first episode of the Selling Portage podcast. That's what's up. This is something that, we've been talking about for a while, and here we are finally doing it. So we're going to talk about, a lot of things. We're going to do a little bit of real estate stuff. We're going to talk a little bit about things going on in town. What's going on, Colin? What do you got to kick us off with right off the bat? You want to talk a little bit about our history in the business
Well,
and how
yeah,
we
let's.
came to go on, man?
I know you quite well. You know me quite well. We work together in a couple different aspects. So let's, for the people who don't know us, let's give a little bit of introduction since we're on episode one. And if everyone can just bear with us, we're going to limp through this a little bit. This is brand new to us. So here it goes. My name is Colin Doyle. I met Ryan, apparently I met him many, many years ago, but for some reason I don't remember our encounter. But I was elected to the Portage City Council 2 years ago. 2 years ago this October, and made friends with Ryan, and we got chatting a little while back. And Ryan has been a real estate agent for 8 years.
8 years, yeah.
So not for your entire life like you have been on council, but 8 years. So we got chatting, and at the time I was not looking for a career shift anyways, but the world of real estate was intriguing to me. And so here I am 4 months in, almost to the day in my real estate career. And now we're starting this podcast, and we're looking at chatting. I mean, first and foremost, real estate, but also get into the nitty gritty about what's happening in Portage, lifestyle in our area, etc.
That's a nice shirt, by the way.
Thank you.
Yeah.
My wife bought it for me.
Oh, well, I won't say anything else then. And speaking of your wife, the thing that you don't remember, it was a Kiss concert that we went to a long time ago, and your today wife was there with us, and you have no recollection of it.
I don't have a recollection of it, unfortunately. She
Yeah.
swears up and down it happened, and then I confirm that with you, and I mean,
Well, there's a reason. I mean, there might be other reasons that you don't remember, but you were a teenager, I think, and I think
I was a
was too.
teenager.
And we went to the old Winnipeg Arena, the old one, and the upper deck was literally shaking, and that's where our tickets were. And Colianne says, I can't sit here. I can't even go out there. Like, it was a heights thing. And we went and talked to guest services, and they moved the two of us away from you and Jared Slater and put us right next to the stage while you two were stuck in the upper deck.
I do, and here's the thing, I do remember going to the concert. I just don't remember going with you guys, but I will have to take your word for it because it's majority rules, 2-1. It is what it is.
I remember getting a phone call when I worked at Portage Toyota asking me, will you please tell Colin that we went to? Like, yeah.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, as you had mentioned, I've been on council a lot longer than I've been a realtor. I was elected in 2010. During that time, I had spent roughly 19 years working in Manitoba Corrections at Agassiz Youth Center. You know, twists and turns along the way. Unhappy where I was. Somebody said, hey, why don't you take your license and come work with us? So I did. And here we are 8 years later.
Perfect. And
that's the short version of it.
Are you
2
enjoying
kids,
it?
2 girls in town here. My wife is in town here, of course, working at Christensen TDS. And she came from a very public life too. She was the executive director of the PCRC for a time, which had lots of interactions with council, as you know.
Right.
Yeah.
And
so
the four of us tend to hang out from time to time.
We do. Yeah. And now we're doing a podcast.
And
we play golf every Wednesday.
We do play golf every
Wednesday. The 2 of us.
Yes.
And we just played. And how'd that go?
Well, I mean, for the first time in a couple of weeks at least, Ryan beat me by 1 stroke, but it doesn't matter how many strokes, it's who won and who lost. And so
But you keep
what
pointing it out.
and what that looks like for us, it is a $20 golf cart fee that the loser has to pay for the following week. But if you were to follow us around the course, you would think we're playing for $1 million purse because how seriously we take it. So I'm not gonna lie, I was a little devastated coming home last night.
Yeah, you looked a little sad, and I enjoyed every second of it. And the people that usually play with us seem to enjoy the back and forth, even though those two, whoever they are usually beating the crap out of us, and we're just have a competition between ourselves.
Yeah, we don't care if they win or lose.
Yeah.
So
Anyway, enough about golf.
why are we here, Ryan? What are we doing?
Well, I mean, we got to highlight Portage, Prairie. Like lots of people want to relocate. They want to learn what's going on in the city. They want to learn about the Portage market. You know, we're here for a variety of reasons. First and foremost, we're talking about real estate. And we're going to talk a little bit about what's happening in the community. We can talk municipal politics, of course. This is the introductory episode, so it's kind of a free for all. And we can go anywhere you want to go with it. I mean, the market right now, what is your take on what's happening?
Sorry, I lost you there for a second.
Oh, bad connection. My goodness.
There we go. You're back online.
Okay. Now, I was
Hiccups.
saying, what is your take on what's happening in the current market?
Well, my take as the new guy, what I've been seeing, and I've been trying to follow it as close as possible, learn as much as possible. Right now, I don't know if the term buyer's market is correct. However, I have been seeing that a lot of the sales that are happening are coming in under asking price, which is the opposite of what's happening, to our neighbors in Winnipeg, and our neighbors in Brandon. So at the moment, we have a fair bit of houses on the market right now, and that would be my take on it.
So I agree with what you're saying, of course. There is some things that I would maybe be a little different on. Just the fact that Portage just never really went into that full-on seller's market where you get bidding wars and that kind of thing. You get them sometimes when they're artificially stimulated, like there's an offer date and the house is an amazing deal and it's in a desirable area. But a lot of factors have to come into play for that to happen. Currently, what we're seeing is, well, I've talked to some realtors that said they've had a relatively slow year. We see what everyone sells as long as it's done on the MLS. It is always the case, or most of the time it is the case, where you're looking at a price reduction from your asking price. If your price is not, if your property is not priced appropriately, you're going to see some massive ones. Like last week when I did the market update on Tuesday, there was one property that sold for $25,000 below the asking price. And we're not going to talk percentages here because the percentages are skewed. People don't say, hey, I want a 10% reduction. They say, I want a $5,000 or $10,000 reduction.
Right.
It's kind of the way it's looked at. But I made the comment, and I stand by it, that if you are selling your house and you get about $10,000 in reductions off of that house, you're probably doing okay.
As a seller.
As a seller.
Yes.
Yeah. And as a buyer, you're also doing okay. You're getting your reduction. Now, that doesn't mean that you should just automatically price your house $10,000 higher than you were going to, because it is still the case that if somebody walks in and they've seen 10 or 15 houses that are priced the same as the one you have listed and yours is out to lunch, well, you're not going to get an offer at all.
Right. And I've seen that along the way as well. In various situations where there's a homeowner who has put, some money into their house, and maybe it was something essential like a new furnace or a new hot water tank, and they feel that because that new furnace is in there and they spent $6,000-7,000 on it, that their house is now worth $6,000-7,000 more than what it was before that new furnace went in. When the reality is, the house is worth the exact same. You have to have a furnace in the house, right?
There are certain expectations. Your house
Yes.
should have electricity. It should have something to heat it with. A lot of cases, central air is now an expectation.
Right.
The plumbing should all be working. Like you need to have a hot water tank. Those things being really old will impact the negotiation later on when the home inspection comes in, but it's an expectation that you have those things in the house. So to say it's a dollar for dollar increase on the price is not always accurate. In fact, the common practice, and these are all unwritten rules, is that if you do a home inspection and the furnace is shot, it's usually a 50-50 cost share between the buyer and the seller.
Yeah.
So,
no, and that makes sense.
There you have it. What we are seeing in our market out here is a lot more agents from outside the community coming in and listing homes. It makes me cautious and skeptical and a little nervous, all these things, because what will often happen is the listing will come out here and you'll not see the agent very often.
Right.
Doing much with the house. It's a local agent that's doing the work. There might be a referral situation, but I've also seen some things like not studying the local market and learning what is going on, because some stuff has sat and then ended up going for auction or whatever. Most recently, like the age of a home wasn't determined at all. And
right.
I see that it's written in realtor remarks. Well, out here in the country, we usually pull the assessment on the house.
Yeah.
It tells you everything you need to know. In Winnipeg, that is free. Like you can go on the City of Winnipeg website and do it all. But
right.
There's options to find out this information, and it's not really excusable to not have that on there.
Right. And you bring up a good point with the town agents coming in, and as a realtor, I understand that, let's use Winnipeg, for example. If someone is relocating from Winnipeg to Portage and they're using a Winnipeg agent, I understand that they're coming here and buying a listing off of a Portage agent, right? But yeah, you're right. We do see more and more listings going up using agents from Winnipeg, Brandon, and there is a bit of a risk there, because who knows Portage better than the people, the agents who live, work, and breathe in Portage, right? And so you are taking a bit of a risk as a seller when you do hire an out-of-town agent, because they're just not familiar with our neighborhoods, our market, what kind of buyers we have here. So there is risk involved there.
Yeah. At the same time, I understand that there are 2,500 agents-ish in Manitoba, and you need to take the business where you can get it, but it's not always the best move for your client. And
right.
A partnership or referral would probably be a much wiser option.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Anyway, moving on. What do you guys? Where do we want to go now?
Well, let's go to. Did you work out this morning?
Of course I did.
I know you're up bright and early.
Yeah.
Always send a shot at each other in the mornings, and wife and I, we get up every morning and working out, and I just happened to catch a little listen to the music she was listening to, and it's very funny because we are so far apart on what we listen to on a daily basis. And I get it, when you're exercising, you need that music to motivate you, and everyone gets motivated by something different. But the stuff she was listening to is like nails on a chalkboard to me. But That being said, I don't really like anything made after the year 2002. I like music that is sang into microphones, played on instruments, not auto-tuned, if you know what I'm saying.
I do. However, I've also heard your golf playlist, and there's some pretty questionable stuff on there.
Well, you got to keep you on your toes.
Yeah. Where are you going with this? We're talking about workout music?
Yeah. What did you have on the playlist this morning?
My training partner didn't show up, so I listened to an entire episode of the Joe Rogan podcast while I was training.
Oh, you did. And does that motivate you enough when you're working out?
Didn't need it this morning.
Okay. Oh, you had the motivation from the win last night.
From within. It came from within.
Well, I threw some Shine Down on a Shine Down playlist, and there's a few songs on there that got me going. But enough about our music taste, because not everyone's going to agree with what I listen to. I'm more of a heavy metal, hard rock kind of guy. But do we want to talk a little bit about what's going on in our city from more of a council standpoint?
Absolutely. Well, maybe we should talk about that bylaw that just passed.
Oh, okay.
You want to go down that path a little bit?
Let's go down that path.
That actually relates back to real estate, and it's kind of exciting and kind of a long time in the making, and it's something we've talked about the entire time I've been on council, is taking more action against derelict properties or things that affect property values or quality of life in neighborhoods. So you want to give us a snapshot of it?
Sure. I've got quite a bit of history with this here, being the public safety chair in our city. And so basically what we had passed at council was a bylaw regarding vacant and derelict buildings. So we've got 20 to 25 buildings kind of on our radar, buildings on our radar. And the idea behind this bylaw was to fast track the process. No more multi-year through the courts, lengthy legal process to get rid of a building that's sitting there, derelict, boarded up, can become a haven for crime and drug use. So this bylaw has passed to give the city more power to fast track the process. So if you've got a building that's sitting vacant and is determined to be derelict, you will get a notice from the city as the building or the homeowner, and you will have a very short period of time to get it up to code and sell it, put people back into it to live in there, just to do something with it. Because I know that as realtors, we go to list a property, we try to sell a property for somebody, and across the street or next door or two doors down, we see this 2.5-story house, boards on the windows. No one has lived in there for the last 18 months. The grass is waist high, and this is a big turnoff for potential buyers when they come and look at this house, right? And so now the city has more power to fast track that. So for any of our viewers that are watching, who aren't our family and friends, since the fact that this is episode 1, so we're hoping to get a few viewers here. For all of you watching, we as a city have heard you loud and clear, and we are in the process of getting rid of these buildings.
Yeah, and if you're watching and you're one of those people, clean it up. Clean it up.
That too.
In some cases, we're talking about landlords here. So, we don't need that stuff going on, and we need to get it cleaned up. Looking pretty.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Make our city beautiful, right?
That's all. What else we got going on? Of course, Saskatchewan Avenue.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about that. We're on track to be finished.
We are on track. Yeah, absolutely. And I know it's been an inconvenience for some people, and it's been a major inconvenience for other people, right? Um, it's coming, and you can all see it taking shape now. All the curves are done, and you can get kind of that bigger picture look at what it's going to be like when all is said and done. And much like the causeway and the traffic circles at either end, there were a lot of people that were fed up with the construction there. They were against the design. These traffic circles are going to cause nothing but problems. And I think you'd be pretty hard pressed to find someone who doesn't like how that traffic flows through there in the roundabouts now. So
Yeah, I remember one of the objections were from some of the homeowners, and I thought to myself, wouldn't you much rather have a flow in there where vehicles like just have to slow down a little bit than the constant starting and stopping and the noise
right,
pollution that creates?
yeah,
And it's worked out really well.
yeah, absolutely. Something else from the city standpoint that I wanted to bring up was I am part of a committee that is creating a community safety and well-being plan for the city of Portage. And right now we are in the data collection stage. So what we have going on, mostly online, is a survey. So basically, this survey, it takes about 9 to 12 minutes to fill out. So it's a little longer than most surveys, but definitely worth it. And what we're looking for is that raw data to work with to develop our community safety and well-being plan. So some of the questions that are asked are about your general feeling of Portage, how safe you feel in Portage. Have you ever witnessed a crime? Have you ever experienced a crime against you? Some of the questions are potentially a little more difficult to answer, given everyone's circumstance is different. But uh, the people filling out the surveys get to remain completely anonymous. And I just think it's important for when we're developing this plan to actually just have all of that raw data so we can get a true feeling as to what people are feeling in our city. So that survey can be found on the City of Portage's website, links on our City of Portage's Facebook page. We have paper copies that are at the PCRC building and at the temporary City Hall, which is our community safety office across the street from City Hall, as well as certain members of council, myself included, will be going to places like Rotary Housing, Regency House, Oak Tree Towers, etc., places like that with paper copies and actually having a survey information session, helping people fill out the surveys along the way if need be. And we are extending the deadline a little bit because we want to be able to engage with the younger demographic. So as of right now, we have close to 1,800 surveys filled out. Our goal is to hit around 2,500 people at least. And out of the 1,800 that we have filled out, there's only 14 people that are 25 and under. So they are the future of our city. And so we really want their involvement. So we've extended the deadline a little bit so I can get into the schools and talk to the students in the schools, or in the high school at least, and get them to fill out this survey and just kind of get their point of view on it as well.
So you're obviously waiting until the school year starts, but we will throw the link to the survey in the description of this video.
Great
so
idea.
Get in there, fill it out for us, please. We appreciate it.
That's the power of technology.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah. What else is happening, Colin?
What else is happening? Well, this coming weekend, the August long weekend, we have the Manitoba Air Show once again back in our city, or back in the RM of Portage out at Southport. So it's August 3rd and 4th. It is, I don't know if you've ever been to the air show before, but I love aviation. I love planes. it's an exciting event for someone like me. And I do understand that they're still looking for volunteers. So they need about 400 volunteers to have a full functioning complement. So if anyone is willing to volunteer, please contact Southport and let them know. You can also go through the Manitoba Air Show website, which is mbairshow.ca.
And well, I was going to mention it's only every 2 years.
Yes.
So when I was a kid, I grew up in Mellonville. So when I grew up in Mellonville, most of those houses weren't there. There was a field, and there was a different access to go to Southport. You went down
Right.
Old Bridge Road.
Old Bridge Road, yeah.
So the people in Mellonville had a pretty clear view of the air show without ever going to the air show.
Yeah.
It was a much more open view. So I kind of watched the air show as a kid a lot, like every time it was here. But as an adult,
I was much of the same because I grew up 2 miles east of Southport, and so we were on a gravel road, and we would pull lawn chairs to the end of our driveway. And not only did we get to watch the air show from right from our front yard, we also got to watch like a week beforehand when they were all practicing. Snowbirds are out there, the fighter jets are out there, and it was a pretty cool thing, especially as a kid, to sit there and watch all that happening. And I do remember that fondly, and I think that kind of played into my love for aviation.
I learned something about you just now. Your love for aviation.
My love for aviation.
I never thought I'd hear that come out of your mouth today, but here we are.
However, being married to my wife for the last 5 years, who is a terrible flyer, she's got in my head. So I am a nervous flyer now, when before I never had a problem with it. So I have her to blame for that. And unfortunately for me, she lost her nervousness of flying and passed it on to me.
You inherited it.
I inherited it. You know what else I love? And you probably know this about me, is my favorite summer pastime is grabbing the bean bags and playing cornhole. So I don't know if you've ever played cornhole before, Ryan, but it is a game that I love playing, and I'm gonna throw in a shameless plug here, because out at my campground, which is still Portage, it's still in the RM of Portage, out at Ofty's campground, on August 17th, we are hosting the first annual Ofty's cornhole tournament, and it is proudly sponsored by yours truly, Colin Doyle with Real Broker, and a friend of mine who owns Prairie CrossFit. So we have cash prizes, and for the winning 2-3 teams, depending on how many people end up signing up. So if you're watching this and you love the game of cornhole as much as I do, you do not have to be a camper out there. Get in touch with me. We'll sign you up. We'll get you out there, and maybe you can win some money.
Well, that's fun. I do not share your love for the game of cornhole. For those of you that know me, then I'm more into things like, I don't know, arm wrestling, things like that.
I just learned something new about you today too.
Oh, you did? Yeah, that's great. Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about your arm wrestling
too, but it is way too early. My event's not happening until December.
Okay.
Well, you got anything you want to close with there, Colin? What else do we want to talk about before we jump off the air here?
Well, I would just, again, this is our first one. I think we did okay, if you ask me. And I would like to just ask people to follow us, subscribe to this podcast, and let's see where this takes us.
Yeah, and I will plug Real Broker, of course, because there are 4 of us now in and around Portage La Prairie with the same brokerage. So the 2 of us, of course, Andrew Dornan, and of course Brady Moxham.
Yeah.
So give any one of us a call, and who knows, maybe you'll see someone else all of a sudden under our brokerage banner at some point.
Yeah, absolutely. We encourage it. The thing I like, since we're talking about real, the thing I enjoy the most about it is the culture.
Mhm.
You know, if you don't share that team mentality, that lift each other up mentality, then it's not the broker for you. But I love that culture that we meet for every couple of weeks online as a Manitoba group, and everyone just lifts each other up. And for a business that can be very competitive, it's so refreshing to see and be a part of.
Absolutely. That's why one of our core values is work hard, be kind.
Absolutely.
And on that note, thank you everyone for watching episode 1. We will be back next week with episode 2.
And I will have a different shirt on,
I hope so.
brighter.